Hello, it's Tyson Sharp here, and if you're looking to use your meditation to manifest more clients and more business collaborations, this is the episode for you. Let's dive in. A big hello to you and welcome back to another episode of the Awaken Your Business podcast. If you're here, you would like to have more free-flowing business conversations and free-flowing business opportunities. And isn't that what we all want? But what most people get is something different. What most people find when they start, especially in online business, is they sort of find the grind. They sort of find that some things don't necessarily come easily. And in fact, it brings up a bunch of fear, a bunch of doubt, a bunch of worry and concern because they're out there doing their social media, their outreach, and things aren't necessarily flowing through and flowing in a way that feels aligned and flowing in a way that, allows them to get the results they're after. And that's why I thought I'd put together this episode, because a lot of people are using meditations. A lot of people are using affirmations, right? And they're doing so they can move their business forward and advance in their business, advance in their level of contribution. But truly, when they start to feel into it, when they start to realize that where their conversations within themselves are coming from, it's coming from a place of lack. Have you ever done this? Have you ever started to meditate or started to use affirmations, and at some level you realized it's because of fear? It's because you feel this uncertainty, you feel this doubt, you feel this worry, and therefore you're using your affirmations and your meditations to try to get rid of it. You're trying to use your meditations and your affirmations because you feel like, I'm coming from a place of lack. I'm coming from a place of I don't have, and therefore I need to use this tool, tactic, strategy in order to feel different so I can change my life, right? And this is all part of the journey. I woke up this morning with a bunch of uncertainty and confusion, right? I'm even still feeling a bit now, even when I'm recording this episode. And that's a really key piece. It's a really important piece, and I'll explain why in a minute. But what you can feel is, people who have things flowing to them very easily. It's almost like success chases them. And you feel like, other people who have a tough time, who aren't achieving what they want to achieve and aren't attracting what they want to attract, despite how many affirmations, meditations, all the inner work they do. The question is, why is that? Where's the difference? Here's what I found in coaching hundreds of entrepreneurs in the last few years, is that it doesn't matter necessarily the strategies you use. What matters is where you're coming from. And if you're wanting to attract more clients and more business collaborations, I know it's not a matter of how many affirmations you have, but it's where you live. It's who you are. You don't attract what you say, you don't attract what you think, you attract who you are, and you attract what you do. And that's the big difference. That's a big difference here, especially when you're starting to find yourself in a new level of alignment. You live in a different way. You live in a different model of the world. So not only do you feel different, but you start to take your action and you start to make your decisions based on that new level of who you are. And so when you attract who you are, that's why when you have meditations, when you have affirmations, and you aren't attracting what you want, it's because it's coming from a place that's not aligned with who you really are. Now that's what we're going to do here. What we're going to do here is I'm going to walk you through a few of the common patterns and how to shift them so that you can start living from a place of abundance and you can start feeling it from within, and then you can make your decisions and actions from that place. And this is what I did in the heart of 2020. The heart of 2020, everyone's circumstances were falling down, mine too. The world was shaken up by Corona, and I was thinking, man, where is the world of online business going? What are my clients doing? What is the online community doing? And what can I do to serve? I started living from a place of service. I started living from a place of getting to that next level of kindness and compassion and love for myself and for others. And that was my model of the world. Now, when I started meditating on it, I wasn't meditating from a place of I need to change how I am in order to change my circumstances. I wasn't meditating from a place of I have fear, doubt, and frustration, so I need to get rid of it. I started meditating on how do I find more of myself? How do I connect more deeply with myself? How do I find out who and what I am? And when I started meditating on that, on who and what I am, it felt so aligned to just go out there and serve and help and find different levels of contribution. And I started living from that place. I stopped focusing on the bank account and the amount of clients that were coming through and the amount of prospects that were coming through. I just said, how may I serve? What I found was a huge transformation, not only within in terms of how I felt about myself, not only in terms of the contribution that I made, but the collaborations that came were effortless. I've now had even recently a few people in my network reach out for collaborations, and some that have huge social media following, some that I considered as a mentor and a living example of what's possible, reaching out to me and wanting to collaborate. And even in the heart of 2020, I had my first ever 30K month. And the reason being is because I stopped focusing on the scarcity and the lack and trying to get rid of fear. And I focused more towards on who and what am I? And how can I bring more love? How can I bring more service? How can I bring more contribution? And so I started living from that place. And now I can feel my meditations. Even now when I wake up with uncertainty and I wake up with confusion and I feel it in my chest and I feel this heaviness, I know there's a deeper meaning for it. So here's the alternative. Here's the alternative from feeling fear and then trying to use affirmations and meditations to change the fear. It's feeling into it. When you have fear, doubt, and frustration, instead of trying to change the pattern, trying to get rid of the pattern so that you can manifest something different, you may be at a consciousness now where it's now time to heal the very pattern. Heal the pattern that's coming from within. Heal the pattern that is trying to be seen. And when you heal from within, when you heal the very pattern that tries to get you to meditate, tries to get you to use these affirmations, all of a sudden you start to connect more with who and what you are. And you start to learn the deeper lesson that the universe is trying to teach you. You start to learn the deeper lesson, which we'll go into next. What I'd love right now is if you were to take the time to just breathe and ask yourself the question, what is it that I'm feeling at the moment? Whenever I go to meditate, whenever I go to try and use these affirmations, whenever I'm trying to attract more clients, more collaborations, more business opportunities, what is the uncomfortable emotion that's coming up? And instead of avoiding, instead of resisting, instead of rejecting that side of us, you may be at the point now where to heal the pattern is to fully see it. So when I wake up with anxiety or stress or worry or confusion or I got no clue what's going to happen next and I have this heaviness in my chest, have this emptiness in my stomach, whatever's coming up, I recognize it was an old pattern to try to get rid of it, to try to remove it, to try to avoid it and resist it. It's now time to heal it by feeling it fully, by welcoming it, by breathing with it and surrendering to it. Because here's what happens. The feeling, the emotion, the uncomfortable emotion is coming up because it's ready to be seen. All it needs to do is be seen. All it needs to do is be loved unconditionally. And you can allow it to be in your body for as long as it needs to. And you'll find it starts to transcend. Whether that takes 3 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 days, 30 years, who cares? If you feel it fully and welcome it and allow it to be there, it will transcend in its own time. You will heal the very pattern that prior has tried to get you to meditate and tried to get you to use affirmations, tried to get you to reframe things so that you don't feel this. Now it's time to feel it. Because you can feel it and you can heal it by welcoming it and allowing it to be there. So breathe right now and allow whatever emotion you're feeling to just surrender, to just be there, to welcome it. And know that what's coming up needs to be seen. What's coming up needs to be felt. What's coming up needs to be loved unconditionally. and if you can love this unconditionally, you can start to learn the lesson that the universe is trying to teach you with all of these patterns. And that is that who and what you are is so much more than anything you can achieve and anything you can get. I find so many people growing their business, trying to get more clients, get more collaborations, have a bigger social media following, have a bigger community online, so they can feel something different inside, so they can feel more happy, they can feel more worthy, they can feel more loved, they can feel more safe. And here's what the universe is trying to teach you. Who and what you are is so much more than that. Now, if you were the universe and you were trying to teach someone this lesson, what would you do? If you were trying to teach them that who and what they are is so much more than what they can achieve and what they can get, what would you do? Would you just give them what they want? Or would you allow them to go through the lesson? Would you allow them to go through the circumstances and scenarios necessary to learn the lesson? This is where you're at right now. Where you're at right now is the universe is saying, if you feel like you need more money to feel safe, or if you need more clients, you need a bigger business to feel loved, to feel enough, we're going to teach you who and what you are is so much more by first of all demonstrating that you are not that thing. Who and what you are is not what you have. It's not what you do. It's not your money, right? It's not your social media following. It's so much more. And often for the universe to teach you that, that stuff has to break down. If you truly want to live a life where you move from a place of who and what you are, you have to realize that who and what you are is not those external things. So the universe will generally break down those external things, take them away from you so you can see that you're just as enough, just as fine without it. But what happens when you start living from a place, you start living from a place of abundance without anything external, but you just feel loving, you feel abundance, you feel safe, you feel enough. What happens then? What happens when you are safety? What happens when you are abundance? What happens when you are service and contribution and love? What happens when you make your decisions and actions based on who and what you are, regardless of what's happening externally? You attract the very thing that your mind wanted because you now know you don't need it. You now know you don't need the clients, the money, the success externally to feel how you want internally, because it's who and what you are. Can you feel the difference? If you know you're abundant, if you know you're safe, if you know you're love, regardless of what happens externally, can you feel intuitively that you will attract more of who and what you are? Because the universe has taught you the lesson. It says, okay, you get it. You finally get it. You finally understand that who and what you are is not your external circumstances, but it's all within. And that's how you attract. That's how you attract abundance, endless clients, the finances you want, the business opportunities, the collaborations, whatever you want flowing into your life, you attract it effortlessly because it's the place you're living from and it's who and what you are regardless of the circumstances. So next time you're meditating, meditate on that. Meditate on allowing. Meditate on surrendering whatever's coming up. If it's joy, great. If it's fear, great. Love all those sides of you unconditionally. And if you are loving unconditionally, if you're giving unconditionally, if you're operating from a place of service, if you're grateful and you live from that place, you can make your decisions and actions from that place. And you will feel abundant, you will feel love, you will feel joy, regardless of your external circumstances, and you'll attract that. That's when success chases you, rather than you trying to chase success. What's the difference here? Would you be able to recognize the difference in someone when they are trying to collaborate, when they're trying to come up with creative, resourceful ideas for you, whether you're a client or whether you're a key collaborator for that person? Can you notice the difference when someone's coming from a place of lack, when someone's coming from a place of fear, when they're coming from a place of neediness? Or can you notice the feeling, the vibration, the energy when someone says, here's what I have, here's the way in which I'd love to collaborate, here's the difference I'd love to make. And you can tell they don't need that. They don't need that in order to feel enough. They don't need that to feel safe. They don't need that to feel worthy. Can you feel the difference? Can you feel that energy? That's the key. That's the key to attraction. Attraction of clients, attraction of different collaborations, different business opportunities is when the universe and the other people in your world can feel that you don't need that in order to feel enough. In fact, you're just coming from love and you're okay with any scenario. If you can operate from that place, you will feel how you want to feel. You will attract what you want to attract. And you can use meditations and affirmations and all those beautiful things from a place of abundance and a place of love, a place of gratitude, a place of service, instead of from fear, doubt, lack, worry. If you know this is what your next step is, let me know below. Let me know below in a comment of what was your biggest takeaway here? What was the insight that you needed? What's something that you're going to implement from this for this next day, this next week, this next month? What are you going to implement here? Your biggest takeaway, what you're willing to implement, put it below. I'd love to know. Take care, guys.